In our penultimate session today, I'll be talking with Nigel Cooper, my partner in crime, co founder of our AI writing coach, Ghostart, and the person who's actually been building the platform for the past year. Nigel and I have basically spent the last year obsessing over a single question. How do you teach AI to detect boring? Turns out it's harder than you think. Well, we finally solved it with the Beigeometer. So, Nigel, could you talk us through exactly what the Beigeometer is?
Yep. Hi, Andrew, everyone. Really good to be here. It's been a great summit today, and there's been some amazing insights and speakers, and we've still got Jack to come. But yeah, detecting boring. Like you say, our solution to this is the Beigeometer. Although I think it's important to say, like everything else nowadays, it's an ever evolving thing. Like the word solution makes it sound like it's final and fixed, but with the speed of AI changes nowadays, I don't think anything is.
No, very, very true, very true. So, could you tell us a little bit more about the Beigiometer and what it actually does?
Yeah, in essence, it's the beating heart of Ghostart. It's a writing coach and authenticity scoring system, the real engine of the platform. So people can write their own posts for LinkedIn, or they can ask Ghostart to write a draft for them. Either way, the Beigeometer will then analyze that content to detect where it's generic and bland and beige, as opposed to bold and personal. Now that oversimplifies it, but in a nutshell, that's it.
Okay, so it offers advice on how to improve people's posts.
Yeah, and then Ghostart can action those suggestions automatically and kind of rework the post. Or you can chat with it about the suggestions to kind of workshop the ideas and refine them together along with the Ghostart chat before you action them.
Okay, so you mentioned it suggests improvements in a number of key areas. So, could you tell us more about what those areas are?
Yeah, good question, because it's changed an awful lot. Even since we beta launched at the beginning of September, the criteria and the operation of the Beigiometer has evolved drastically, changing week on week. Because to know what criteria to use to make it a truly useful writing coach, we had to know what beige actually means. And conversely, you have to know what brilliant looks like, because we're trying to help people write brilliant posts, not generic beige AI ones.
Absolutely. So it's worth talking about what beige means, isn't it? Because as we found, it's really not as simple as it seems. Working out what the Beigiometer should judge was tricky, wasn't it? I mean, we had to go through a whole load of iterations to get it right.
Yeah, exactly. What should it be prioritizing? The LinkedIn algorithm, perfect English, minimizing AI tells like the infamous M dash. We all know intrinsically what beige content is when we see it. Generic enough to offend no one, bland enough to engage no one. But judging that with an algorithm is quite a different thing. Yeah, we knew we wanted to help people create content that actually contained something true and honest from the writer. But we also knew they were still going to be using AI. So it's hard. We knew what beige was when we read it, but translating that into an algorithm was just something else entirely.
Yeah, I mean, we went on this kind of really nerdy, obsessive journey, didn't we? Listing millions of things the Beigiometer should be judging posts against and talking to people all over the place.
When you talk to people, I don't really like that.
Oh, yeah, right. You like talking to people a lot more than you let on.
Anyway, we digress. The point is, when we say beige, we essentially mean AI slop. But I really hate the term AI slop. It feels quite derogatory and, I don't know, a bit lazy to me.
I mean, I agree, but it all started when you used the term beige in one of your posts. I don't know, it seems years ago now, but we both saw it really resonated with readers, and I don't know, it just got me thinking. Perhaps there's some kind of ometer in that or something.
I know. And as soon as people started using Copilot or ChatGPT or whatever to churn out content without thought and editing, we started to see the beige on LinkedIn and everyone's read it. Now, it's easy then to just jump on the anti AI bandwagon, isn't it? Just say, don't use it, be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, we really did that at first, didn't we? That was part of our coaching. Because for those of you who don't know, we also train brand employees to communicate on LinkedIn. And when ChatGPT first launched, which I don't know, what's that, 3 years ago now, we'd be there telling people to avoid it. Don't use ChatGPT. It's not a good writer. It won't sound like you. But as time went on, we realized that this was, well, it was kind of a losing battle because there's more and more employees on our training cohorts would tell us, well, they're going to use Copilot or ChatGPT anyway. So we really had to readjust our thinking here.
Yeah, exactly. The author in me hates AI, still does. I don't want it anywhere near my creativity. But it is different for business writing, even writing professional posts. There's no point pretending it's not there and that people aren't going to use it. And honestly, for me, there's no point then not using it because you're just cutting your own nose off to spite your face, and other people are going to kind of excel ahead of you. So the question isn't about using AI at all. That horse has bolted already. It's how do we use it well? How do we keep our humanity in the process of using it?
Okay, right. So tell us more. What is the Beigeometer all about? Is it about keeping your humanity?
Yeah, I mean, I know that makes it sound like really deep, but I think it is. Yeah. Look at all of the speakers at the summit today. The idea of personality and personal experience, it just comes up again and again and again. We've got to keep ourselves in our online content somehow, because if we don't, what's the point? And actually, what we got wrong at the start when we were developing the Beigeometer, it was that our first versions were thinking about the algorithm too much. By that, I mean it was judging whether there was a picture or a video in the post.
Mm,
Was there a call to action? Were there AI tells there? And that's the feedback it was giving people to
mm,
help improve their posts. But it improved it for the algorithm, but it didn't really improve it for the human. Then we added some things to see if the user had customized the post themselves or edited it, whether it matched their voice profile or if there was a personal story in the post. And that was great, but it still wasn't enough. Even when we launched the beta at the beginning of September, the Beigeometer was still pretty basic. It was pretty much just that.
mm.
But having user feedback over the past few months has just been so incredibly valuable.
Yeah, I mean, actually talking to other people has been so incredibly helpful, hasn't it? So I've made it my mission this year to start talking to the smartest people we could find: writers, marketers, psychologists, creators. Like the voices we've heard at the summit here today. I've read the books, I've analysed posts. We've both gone down rabbit holes we're, to be honest, still not fully out of.
I feel like I'm in a big underground warren of rabbit holes I'll never break free from, to be honest.
Yeah, I can relate to that. But all that work fed into the beating heart of Ghostart and the Beigeometer. So after all that research and all that iteration, where do we actually land?
All right, let me talk you through where we are now. We quickly realized that if we wanted the Beigiometer to be a genuine coaching engine in the heart of Ghostart, it couldn't just be rules and checklists. Avoid AI this, avoid this AI tell, don't use M dashes, make sure they use a picture, video, etc. We knew we needed it to teach people, and it had to pick up the same things that human senses would instinctively pick up, because that's what the beige is, right? The kind of lack of soul that we all instinctively feel when we read one of those posts. So we landed on what we call the 5 human senses of great content.
Okay, so what are users actually seeing when they run the Beigeometer?
Well, basically, when someone writes or generates a post in Ghostart, they get an overall beige score out of 10, and then a range of suggestions and scores out of 10 for the 5 human senses. And it's not about perfection, it's about authenticity and humanness.
Okay. So Ghostart evolved into a writing coach with a highly trained AI and Beigeometer at its heart. So tell us more about these five human senses.
Okay, well, in the simplest way, it's trained to recognize patterns that humans will sense instinctively. There's a lot of NLP and pattern recognition running in the background, but what matters for users is the guidance that they will get for their posts. So, firstly, the first sense is voice. Does it sound unmistakably you? So, if your post includes phrases like leverage synergies or circle back, well, that's probably not your voice. Or if it is, I'm sorry for you. It's kind of language that you wouldn't use. So Ghostart will spot that and it will flag it and tell you to change it. But it's also worth noting that Ghostart has other features that help you to identify your voice, and it trains the Ghostart system in it. So the Beigeometer also looks at your actual voice for comparison with the posts that you're creating. The next sense after voice is emotion. Does your post make anyone feel something? Now, we're not talking about gushing or being overly vulnerable here. We just mean conveying some feeling, whatever you're talking about. Compare I implemented a new strategy with I stayed up till 2 a.m. convinced this wouldn't work, but then something shifted. One's a statement, the other lets you feel the doubt and then the breakthrough. That's the difference. The third sense is rhythm. Does it move like a human and not a machine?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've trained the system to evaluate things like structure, sentence variety, and pacing, haven't we?
Exactly. The thing about the beige wave of content is it's all structured the same way, same phrasing. Rhythm is how your writing moves. A human writer mixes up sentence length in a natural way that AI just doesn't quite match. That's why things feel off sometimes with an AI post. Our brains can just tell the difference, that lack of soul. Our brains can tell the difference, even if we can't articulate why.
Yeah, I mean that part always fascinates me. It's not that there's anything inherently wrong with an AI post. It just somehow feels off, doesn't it? Uh, I mean, like you said, it lacks a human soul, and rhythm's a big part of this.
Totally. It's like those AI avatars that can't blink convincingly. There's just something human they can't quite capture in the timing. And it's the same with rhythm. We spot it, we know when it's fake.
Okay, so after rhythm,
Yeah, the Beigeometer then looks at story. By story, I don't mean you have to be a novelist, just that your post, even if it's short, needs to have some kind of journey. If it's just a statement, it's boring. So think about the difference between here are 5 tips for better meetings versus I ran a meeting last Tuesday that bombed. Here's what I learned and what I'm doing differently from now on. One's a list, the other has a journey. Something happened, something changed, something was learned. The Bayesometer will spot this type of thing in your post and it will suggest ways for you to improve it.
it makes a lot of sense. So, what's the last sense that the Beigeometer looks at?
Yeah, resonance. And by that, I just mean, does it connect beyond the scroll? Does it fit your audience needs and their goals? Does it work for them and not just for you? A really simple example of this is a beige call to action like, what do you think? Drop a comment below. But if your audience are consultants who pitch, you might say, have you ever walked out of a meeting knowing you didn't explain your value clearly enough? What happened? Can you see the difference?
Thanks so much for that roundup, Nige. Well, we're nearly out of time now, but hopefully that's given everyone some insight into our ongoing quest to crack the beige code with Ghostart. So, on a personal note, I'm incredibly proud of the Beigeometer and Ghostart. It launches properly next Wednesday, so anyone on the wait list will get early access from tomorrow afternoon. And one last thing, if you had to sum up Ghostart and its Beigeometer in one line, what would you say?
Oh, Ghostart's an AI writing coach that helps you use AI without losing yourself in the process.
Brilliant. Thanks again. That's it for cracking the beige code session. We hope you found it helpful. You can find out more about Ghostar and the Beigeometer by signing up to the waitlist at ghostart.io.